Imagine being 1,000 miles away from home, 200 days at sea, in the middle of an ocean. Often looking at the water, contemplating life. What did I get myself into? What am I gonna do when this is over? I was in my early 20s, dealing with a toxic relationship, battling depression, feeling stuck and lost, and wondering what I would do next. In this podcast, I'm going to share a little story about how I switched my mind from having a fixed mindset into a growth mindset and what that really means. So while I was out to sea, you have a lot of time to just think about life. While you're working 24/7, all you're really doing is working, sleep, a few hours of free time, work, sleep, a few hours of free time every day, 24/7, stuck in the middle of the ocean. Now, I always thought I wasn't gonna stay in and retire and do the full 20 years. Although I appreciate everything I've learned and how I've developed as a person while I was in the Navy and military, and I appreciate anybody who signs up. It's not for everyone. So why am I even telling you this? Well, sometimes when we're at our lowest moments, or when we feel lost and don't know what direction to go in, we may feel helpless. We may feel stuck. And you don't know what to do. So how do we get out of that? So I wanted to cover, how do you transition from a fixed mindset into a growth mindset? Sometimes people who feel stuck, it may be their circumstances. It may be they feel trapped, maybe in a relationship or stuck at a job or whatever it may be. This feeling of stuckness. I want you to ask yourself, why do I think I feel stuck? And really, really work on that. So in a fixed mindset, your core belief is you think your abilities and intelligence are set in stone. You don't believe you can develop new skills, become a student again, a student of life. You may see challenges as something to avoid because you don't believe you're capable of overcoming those challenges. You may view them as a threat to your ego, or you may not want to fail because that will make you feel even worse than you started. Someone with a fixed mindset, they see obstacles. They may give up too easily because they say to themselves, I can't do this. I don't have the skills or capability to do this. When they get feedback, whether good or bad, you may take it as criticism, or you may ignore them. Even if it's good, you may think to yourself, I can't do that. That's not me. So now, how does this relate to my story? So after the Navy, I finished my degree and I finished a second degree, and now I have 2 degrees, and I still was wondering, what do I really want to do? You know, I was so grateful that I had the opportunity to go to school with the help of being a veteran. But at the same time, I still felt stuck. I always wanted to pursue things that was interesting to me. And I still didn't know what to do. So again, I started studying and reading. And this is where I found the Fixed versus Growth Mindset book by Carol Dweck, a psychologist. And started to realize, I just need to develop the skills that I'm passionate about. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Because even though you've came this far and you still feel stuck, you reaching this point and all of the life experience you've had up until this point can be viewed as a learning experience. So what did you learn? And you have to really dig deep and reflect. It's hard to reflect if you don't give yourself the time to reflect. Even if it's 5-10 minutes, no distractions, sitting in your own thoughts. When you really have the time to reflect on your life, you have the time to see what you want to do with your life. So I started meditating, I started reading this book, and started realizing I love helping people who may be struggling with life, because I know life can be hard sometimes, and we may not all feel equipped to handle it to the best of our ability. So sometimes you need an extra push. Sometimes you need somebody to help you spark that fire underneath your butt. So somebody with a growth mindset is somebody who could see their life as having the capabilities to develop new skills and intelligence. You see yourself as a lifelong learner, and you're always willing to open yourself up to opportunities and learning through life. You may feel stuck sometimes, but you see these challenges as something to overcome, not a wall that you won't see it as a wall that's insurmountable. You will see it as a wall and be resourceful and see, how can I get over this wall? Versus somebody with a fixed mindset will see the wall and say, oh, I don't have the capability to get over it, so I guess that's it. And you feel stuck indefinitely. The good news is you can switch your mindsets with enough practice and reflection and getting to know yourself more. So I finally decided that after going to school and learning more, I wanted to go back to school again. But this time I wanted to go back with the intention of, this is something that I truly want to do and work in, and not something that I'm just interested in learning about. And I truly want to help people, and this will help me get there. So I finally decided to start pursuing psychology, because I was reading books by Freud and Jung and all the great inspirational psychologists of the past, Wayne Dyer and Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl. These books inspired me, and learning about the history of psychology and how we can develop and help people's minds was truly inspirational for me. So I decided to go back to school for psychology. And now I want to become a psychologist. So hopefully in the next 6 years after this video is posted, I'll be a doctor. But regardless of that, I wanted you to think about, do you think you're in a fixed mindset? And how do you think you can shift into that growth mindset? You know, I want you to realize that your capabilities and your intelligence are not fixed. Challenges can always be overcome. Sometimes you need to give yourself the time to reflect and truly see what you want in life and how you can be resourceful enough maybe, or seek out help that will get you to where you want to be in life. And I just want to remind you that in life, there is never a destination. Every day you wake up is the destination. And that's part of the journey of life. When you're grateful that every day you wake up, you get the chance, if you're healthy and all your limbs work and you have the capability to put in the work, you can do the work that it takes to get where you want to be in life. And I just wanted to remind you all of that. And as always, stay curious. Never give up. Peace.